Hey everybody, welcome back to the Benefits Cooldown. That right there, that's my good friend Ed Legande. I'm Eric Silverman. Ed, what's on the agenda today? What are we talking about on the Cooldown?
Well, thanks for sticking with me, buddy. Been a year of these, and that's been kind of crazy.
Crazy. This is episode 53.
Speaking of the year, we're going to go back to you. Last week you asked me, what did 2022 look like? What were some of the hot topics, hot trends, and with some of our clients? And I went over a few different things, whether it was education or custom health plans and telemedicine, and just the way we purchase our benefits and so on and so forth. But I want to ask you, you and I are in, while we're in the same industry, we have different roles, right? We kind of serve somewhat of a slightly different purpose. So I would love to hear from your perspective, what were some of the hot, trends from your side of the business?
Yeah, I mean, look, last week you hit on a couple of my favorites. You talked about education, you talked about defined contribution. So I'll piggyback on that to start. I saw an incredible amount of uplift, literally like a rocket. So here's where I'm going to insert my rocket ship emojis. I like emojis. That was huge, right? Employer funded and or defined contribution has been crazy. And I really believe it's because of the economy and labor market that we're in, right? Talent acquisition is not easy ever. Certainly not last year, certainly not for most industries and most companies. And let alone keeping your most loyal and great talent is the hardest. So we've seen a lot of employers through our broker partners together where we're encouraging them to consider, it's not required, but we're encouraging them to consider funding things that were otherwise known traditionally over the years as a voluntary or enhanced benefit, whether it be a flat amount, whether it be paying for a certain program or a certain level, whether it be just a blanket, here's some money as a shopping spree. I love that term. Thanks for shouting it out last week. Whether it be here's some money, use it or lose it, do what you want with it. We're just seeing an uptick in that by far. And by the way, a year ago today, I would have said the same thing for 21. Like it's continuing to have a rise. And I don't see it slowing down. I get from brokers and so forth all the time, they say, well, how do you get employers to spend more money? Well, number one, most all the brokers and advisors that hire me and my team, they're innovative brokers and advisors who are literally saving their companies tons of money on their medical. So there's always, not always, but most times found money. And as you mentioned, most employers are doubling down. They're not taking that money and running. They're taking that money and doubling down and investing back in their employee talent. So that's where we find some money. And then we've had companies where, yeah, they might have had an increase and they're still spending more because they know that it's a good way to attract and retain talent. And here's what I say to brokers that ask me how we do it. Open your mouth, ask, talk, tell employers what's going on, what the trends are. If they don't want to do it, that's totally fine. Nobody's going to fire you as their advisor because you gave them an innovative idea that the industry is going toward. If they don't like it or they can't afford it, move on. But they're never going to be able to accuse you of not giving them ideas. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, to continue that, employers can spend any amount of money they want on medical and any other benefit in the enhanced benefit world. Nothing matters if there's not proper and thorough communication and engagement. And that trend, luckily for everybody, the consumer, the healthcare consumer, the end user, the employee, luckily that has not stopped. In fact, it continues to grow. So we are, as a firm, we've been doubling down on communication efforts, technology, messaging, internal web chats, webinars, podcasting with our employer groups. Literally, as crazy as some of this stuff sounds, we are all in because getting the employer involved in that process is huge. When we partner with an employer and we get the message out to the employees, and it's not just one time during open enrollment, Ed, you know that, it's a year-round cadence. It could be weekly, could be bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly. It's really just a custom plan that we put together to really get the employees educated. And that truly starts to move the needle to garner engagement. And we know that's a fact because we've actually done surveys post-enrollment with a lot of our accounts, and the employees don't, shut your ears if you're a health advisor and this is offensive, but most times the surveys come back not with, oh, we love our medical plan. Sorry. Most of them come back with, we appreciate the engagement. We appreciate the education. We really like the technology and the communication. We feel like everything's more transparent. We hear a lot of that. And then to wrap it up, the other two things product wise, dude, pet benefits, pet coverage, holy crap, right? My goodness, it's just incredible. It's people are realizing that all the millions upon millions of pets that they adopted in the year 2020 during the pandemic are getting sick. It happens, they get hurt, and they're realizing that these plans are very powerful. So it's asked for by employees, HR people, owners ask about it, and we put it into most all of our groups, and we even have employers paying for it. So it is huge for engagement. Employees are quicker to engage and go into the portal to enroll in benefits or use the call center if there is one, just because they want to quote on pet benefits than they are with respect to, hey, I want to learn about life insurance or disability or a hospital health insurance plan. And then finally, I can't finish without saying mental health. EAP programs, mental health counseling, in-person, virtual. That's been a big trend in 2022. And I'm curious how that continues into the new year. So again, Happy New Year if I didn't see anybody listening already. I think next week, Ed, let's talk about what we think is going to continue or grow in 2023. So everybody, I appreciate you listening. Thank you, Ed. Stay tuned for another episode of the Benefits Cooldown next week, where we will talk about a 2023 preview of sorts, where we think and what we think is going to happen this year. Take care, everybody. Thanks.